excited to be here in San Antonio. It's always great, for us, kind of being the hometown team. And, we had a great deal at Pinkerton's last night. It was probably, I know we ate all the ribs, drank all the beer. There was nothing left. I said the same thing. I told my video crew who's in here right now, I said, y'all make sure and film all those Texas high school coaches out there. It's raining. They still in the beer line. They're still talking ball. And only cattle and Texas high school football coaches would just stay out in the rain and drink beer and eat barbecue and talk ball. So we'll have practice in the morning at 8, and we'll have a lot of coaches show up for that, and we'll practice again Wednesday morning. So just a great time for me and our staff to welcome everybody to I think, the best city in the country, San Antonio. And I know people that come and visit always tell me the same thing. So we're excited. Year 5 coming up. It's crazy how fast it's gone by, and it's been a great 4 years, and we're excited to have another great 5th year. Be glad to take some questions.
Jeff, Carter Yates with Dave Campbell's Texas Football. NIL has become a huge factor in the college football game. Now Florida in high school is having NIL. What are your thoughts, opinions on NIL being allowed in Texas high school football?
I still consider myself a Texas high school football coach. And those kind of questions are always, they're kind of loaded. And I'm not dare attacking your question because it's a good question. But the coach always gets painted as somebody that thinks they're against players getting paid. And that's not my heart at all, especially in college. I think that's different than in high school. I just think you're opening up a can of worms that's way bigger than people think. It sounds wonderful, but like most things that sound wonderful, they're almost too good to be true. I would try to avoid that as long as possible if I was a Texas high school football coach. And I would feel like that Joe and Glenn would feel the same way. I need to recruit that dude to be a wide receiver.
Hey, Jeff, Sam Conn from The Athletic. You guys had Frank for quite a long time. I know, obviously, you're moving into a new era. What can you tell us about your quarterback situation coming into the year, and also just how excited they are about your team coming into this year?
Well, first, you can't overstate how important Frank Harris was to our program and what he's done. He still does, by the way. He's still our biggest supporter. I think he'll be the mayor of San Antonio one day. There's a lot of great about Frank. The thing that Frank struggled with, he was such a competitor. He didn't avoid contact very much. So he was injured quite a bit in his career. So we've had to play a lot of quarterbacks through the last 4 years. And Eddie and Owen both got to play, quite a bit last year. And that's painful last year whenever you're trying to grow up new quarterbacks, but it's going to help us this year. We feel great about both those young men, whichever one we decide to go with, because they've got to play so much last year. So they've each started games, they've each played tons of minutes, and that's going to help them this year.
Hey, Coach, Mike Roach, 24/7 Sports. I wanted to talk about Denver Harris and just kind of how things have been since he got there. I know he's had a couple rough stops before getting to UTSA, but do you feel like you, with your background and Coach Price and some high school coaches on the staff, understand how to maybe work with a kid like that and make sure that they get straightened out?
Yeah, I asked a good friend of mine, Joey McGuire, I said, Joey, you do such a great job of answering those questions about prospects and future guys. And my inclination always, we've won so many games and we've won championships. We're really proud of what we've done the last 4 years at UTSA. I think at home we're like 27-3. In conference we're 29-4. We've played to either win the championship or be in the championship the last week of the season every year we've been there. And I know Mike's going right now, Jeff, what in the heck are you going down this road for? I've just got so many guys on my team that have won so many games for me. I hate not talking about them. So in saying that, since you're a good friend, it's a great question. I will answer it now. We love saving kids. And I've told y'all a million times, and you've known me for a long time, San Antonio's getting the best version of Jeff Traylor. You know, in his teenage years, he was a story. In his 20s, he was a story. When he's in 30s, he was in a story. In the 40s, there was a story. And now I'm in my 50s, and there's another story. And I just think kids, children, deserve second chances. And sometimes it's the right fit. And Denver's situation's never been talent. It's always been the other stuff. And we've got so many connections at North Shore, so much help from the east side. And Denver has a lot of trust in me and our staff. Nick Graham's as good as there is in the country at developing those kind of guys. And I'm excited for Denver, not for the football player, for the man. Like what can we do with Denver, him being a man as he moves forward.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Jeff, there's been a ton of just conference realignment over the last few years, a lot of shuffling, including in the American. How do you kind of view the conference now, and what challenges does that present for you guys as coaches when your conference opponents are kind of always changing?
Again, remember, Bryce, where I'm from. I'm a Texas high school football coach. Those are all excuses made by guys that are, that's a bunch of bull. I mean, adjust, adapt, improvise, overcome. I've been put in districts before that made absolutely no sense. We're driving across the whole state of Texas and driving right past our rival. It's just part of it. And I know it. I tease with my local media. I feel bad for those guys. I know they hear the same answers all the time. I'm about like Belichick. I mean, control the controllable. I mean, you can't control it. Do you think I'm excited that I'm going to Army November 30th? Well, good God, no. Who is? But it is what it is, right? We got to freaking practice and prepare for them. Let's go up there and see if we can do something up there. So, yeah, there's things you don't ever like about that schedule, but you just got to handle it and go. But it is what it is, and we're going to, like if you look at our schedule, young quarterbacks, first 5 games, 3 tough road games. It's not ideal, right? The end of our schedule, big home schedule. I've already said we're 27-3 at home. Would you have liked for your schedule to be where you're home loaded early with your quarterbacks and those guys are more veteran when they go on the road? Ideally. But what am I going to do? Call GJ up, call Sark up, hey, y'all mind coming to the Alamo Dome and let my young quarterbacks play? They don't care. They want my butt to be in there with my young quarterbacks.
Jeff, Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle. I'm curious with the portal and the way things have changed, do you think that the approach or the thinking behind red shirts will change in terms of, do you play them for as long as you're going to have them, that whole year of sitting out, or is it still about development, or do you think that coaches will maybe want to not redshirt as much?
First of all, Joseph, my daughter is 24, and when I said yesterday what I said up there about those girly helmets, and she's going to kill me, and you filmed it and put it out there, and you should have, but my daughter, just know, Joseph, J.C. Traylor will call me. I was hoping you could have stopped.
You can give her my phone number.
I hope you could have I wish you could have just stopped it. I need, like Greg has to do for me many times here in San Antonio. I need you to edit some of my stuff, Joseph, to help me. Now, to answer your question, it's a great question, and I struggle. I'll just be honest with you. I've got a freshman tight end last year. We think we could have. There's a certain screenplay we could have ran in the bowl game, and I think he would have scored. And I nixed the play because if they'd have seen him run like he can run, somebody would have gotten transfer portal probably. The NIL offer would have been so high, I wouldn't have been able to keep him. And you don't want to say you're intentionally hiding young players because that sounds terrible, right? But you're thinking about it. Like when I saw Devin McEwen making Tennessee miss on the road, instead of me cheering for Devin, in my mind I'm going, well, I know what that means. It's a whole new way of looking at him. And I just think I've had to kind of change my thoughts on that and just realize every single team is now a one-year team. And that's so hard for me to say because I'm 15 years at Gilmer, Texas. 15, same place. Man, I love developing those relationships and growing kids up and watching those guys, become something. And I just think that you still have to keep that in your mind because that's what you want it to be like. And we've had unbelievable success at keeping our players. We've only really lost 3 players in 4 seasons that I would say were guys. You never want to lose anybody, but 3 that really were different for us. And I've got to wrap my mind around that. And I'm going to just change, And but as far as redshirting, I wish we'd just do away with the rule. I wish they'd just give them 5 to play 5. We've all proven now. Some of these guys played 8 and 9 years. They're all doing okay. So that 4 games is weird, and I'm grateful they gave us the 4. But I wish they'd just let us have 5 to play 5 and not have to worry about counting games. Because you hate it when a young player goes 4 games in a row on special teams. Then he comes to you and says, Coach, I don't want to play anymore the rest of the year because I don't want to burn my year. Then you want to honor that for the player.
Jeff, a few coaches we've talked to yesterday had talked about the possibility of the signing, adding a June signing period after the June official visit windows. I'm curious what you think about that, and piggybacking off of that, how much does senior tape matter in your evaluations these days, and how do you perceive senior tape mattering to other programs that you know of?
I think it depends on the job you have. We're at UTSA, right? That's a little different than obviously other places. I'm a Texas high school football coach at heart. If my players, this is back when, 10 years ago now, if they had an offer, there was a committable offer, they love the head coach, they love the university, they love the position coach, we took that offer immediately. We were big early on. We took our offers at Gilmer. And I'm a huge proponent of a June signing day. I think it'd be great for everybody. I don't really understand the pushback. I know these people say, well, what if the kid opts out? Well, I don't want to coach that kid anyway. If I'm a college football coach, which I am, and the kid commits to me in June and he decides not to play his senior year because he's going to come play for me, I probably wouldn't take that kid. Just being honest with you. I want a guy who loves to play the game of football. I don't want that. He's going to do the same thing to me. So I don't want to deal with that, right? So I'm a huge proponent of June. I don't see what the negatives are. What else it does, it allows schools like A&M in Texas, they pretty much know who they're going to get. They get that over with. What does that do for us at UTSA? We now know where to go to spend our time recruiting, and it's going to assure the high school kid got a scholarship, right? Because if a kid was set on coming to UTSA, and this was his dream school, he'd go ahead and get that in June, and there's no worry about a college coach saying, oh, sorry, that offer is not committable anymore because I just took this grad transfer, or I just took this bounce back, I just took this junior college player. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't see what the negative that is. I wish we signed them in June and then did the one in December. And that February one, we could discuss that. I'm sure it's still good too. 3 sounds like a lot when you start talking about it, but I would be for the June one.
And on senior tape, I guess, does senior tape still matter to you guys?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've had kids. The biggest deal for me, the tape, it's all a piece. Like everybody asks, which piece is the most important, and it's all just a piece of the puzzle. But the big one for us is camp. Us getting to coach them, getting to be around them. We haven't missed on many kids we got to coach in camp. You go just off game video. I think that's look at our misses during COVID, and I know you guys are the greatest talent evaluators in the world out there because y'all tell everybody how good of recruiters we are and how bad we are. Like for us, we're not interested in them rankings and those rankings. I know how to speak proper English. I apologize. Like we're way behind. Somebody was blasting me yesterday. We're way behind on some rankings y'all got right now. Well, we're not going to take a player just to win a recruiting war. We're going to try to win ball games. I want y'all talking about how many games and championships our teams have won. I can give a hoot about some recruiting rankings. So we're just going to go slow and be patient. A lot of the time, that senior video is the perfect guy for us. It's somebody y'all didn't notice. Y'all didn't give him all those stars. You know, Mike didn't make him some big star already and blow him up, and I can't get him now. Those kind of guys that sneak in, and that's what's great about having Beast Texas connections. Those guys are out in the woods and nobody knows about them a lot of times. So you can sneak those guys in better than you can a Metroplex or a Houston guy because there's so much attention given to the city kids.
Last question.
Greg Lucas, San Antonio Express News. Jeff, how is your program planning around the possibility of revenue sharing with players in the future, and how much is that something guys are asking you about?
That'd be a question for Dr. Compost. I mean, that's way above my pay grade. Our entire athletic budget's $37 million. I can't imagine us carving $22 million out of it to pay our players. I wish we could, but since we haven't said anything yet, I'm assuming we're not doing it, but no one's told me. So I'm still out with my cup trying to get some NIL money so I can keep my roster. Because if we could, I've said it a million times, we could take care of my coaches and our players, we'd win as many games in San Antonio as these people want to win. It's just going to be how much can we afford to give, and the only person that knows that is Dr. Compost. And I'm sure she's got a plan. I just haven't been privy to what that number or when that number or if there's going to be a number yet.
All right. Thanks, Coach.